It's week 3 of my 1-year experiment, and this week I caught a pattern that has been bleeding my business dry. I keep giving more and more while I am charging less and less, thinking that somehow the universe will balance it all out. Spoiler, it does not work that way. Welcome back to the bed. Every journey starts with a choice, and mine is a bet. For 1 year, I'm gambling on energy over strategy. No more forcing and no pushing. Just the courage to show up and see what happens when reality becomes my playground. This isn't a podcast. It's a real-time experiment in the lab of my life. Welcome to the bet. It's Friday evening, and I'm sitting here having what can only be described as a little moment of reckoning with reality. I've spent a lot of today looking through my business offers, and the math is not mathing. Stand, which is my 6-week accountability program, I charge $397, but most people pay $297 because if you're a memo member, you get a $100 discount. So $300 for 6 weeks of daily check-ins with me, daily access to my brain, daily videos of how I'm moving myself forward, watching me shift my own beliefs and limitations in real time, and all my program audios, all my brain serums, all my guided labs, which are really powerful. And we have 2 group calls as well. So that is a lot. Plus, when the members post in their rooms, when they drop voice notes, I give them personal feedback. I give them personal perspectives. I give them personal shifts on everything. $297 divided by 42 days. That's $7 a day for transformation work. And then we have Memo, my personal trainer for the mind. $22 a month. Right now, there's over 170 episodes in there. Plus, I just launched MemoBot, which is my AI coaching that I have precision coded with all my frameworks so that people can get a custom prescription for exactly which episodes they need to listen to in what order to unlock the pattern that's underneath their problem. $22 for that. And here's the kicker. I'm exhausted. Not from the work itself. I love my work. Absolutely love it. I'm exhausted from the energetic imbalance of it all. So what's the pattern that I'm catching here? I keep thinking that if I just put enough value out into the world, it has to come back to me. Like there's some cosmic accounting system that's keeping track of all of this. And I'm going to get a big karmic check in the mail. And when I look at my business, I can see that I have created a truck ton of value. There's no question about it. But I do not have the revenue to reflect it. And it's not like there's some random checks landing in my lap from other portals outside of my business. So let me give you some context here. Memo has over 170 episodes now. And each episode is 10 to 20 minutes of very carefully crafted content. That's roughly 50 hours of audio content, plus the AI coaching bot that I spent weeks coding, training it with all my frameworks, with my very specific way of finding patterns underneath things. The feedback I get has been phenomenal. People love it. People tell me they've had breakthroughs that they couldn't get from years of therapy. They're finally taking action on dreams they've had. They're transforming their relationships and their businesses and their entire way of being, which thrills me. And they're getting all of this for $22 a month or less because I have a lot of lifetime members who got in at the initial launch price of $88. One-time price. That is less than a dinner out. You know what really got me? There are people out there making bank selling their dirty socks to strangers on the internet. Things like that are happening. And those people get to be rich, and I'm over here selling actual transformation for 22 bucks? That does not compute. So let me back up for a second, because there's a belief I've been operating from that I need to unpack here. I've been taught, and maybe you have too, that if you just do good work, if you focus on putting as much value as you can out into the world, then it has to come back to you. How many of us have been fed this idea that if you're generous enough, if you serve enough, if you give enough, then abundance will find you? I have bought into this completely. I thought that if I just keep creating value, if I keep over-delivering, keep proving how much transformation I can provide, then surely the universe would balance the scales. But I don't think that's necessarily true. I mean, look at teachers. They're shaping the minds of little humans. They spend their days creating potential and possibility, and they're paid nowhere near their worth. So clearly, doing valuable, meaningful work is absolutely no guarantee that the universe pays you back. The pattern is this: I've been trying to prove my worth by giving it away. Like if I just over-deliver enough, if I just give enough value, then somehow I will be worthy. Worthy of what? Success? Money? Recognition? That's not how energy works. Here's what interrupted the pattern: a conversation with my mentor about something called Ayni. I was talking about this whole situation, and he brought up this concept that I had never heard of. Ayni is an ancient Incan concept, and it's about sacred reciprocity. Not just exchange, but a living balance that maintains harmony in relationships and with the cosmos. And here's what hit me. When I drastically over-deliver beyond what I'm charging, I'm not being generous. I'm actually blocking reciprocity. By not allowing others to give back fairly for what they receive, I'm disrupting the natural flow. In Andean thinking, right, this creates an energetic debt that weighs on both parties. Not just on me, on both parties. I'm devaluing my own work, and it sends mixed signals about the worth of what I'm offering. If I'm charging $22 for something, I'm telling the universe and my clients that that's what it's worth. It's creating unsustainable dynamics. I'm depleting myself, which means I can't show up fully for my work long term. And when I'm depleted, nobody wins. The universe operates on circulation, not depletion. Rivers that only flow outward become empty. Those that receive and give maintain their vitality. Think about breathing. You can't just exhale forever. You would pass out. The inhale is just as important as the exhale. The receiving is just as sacred as the giving. But I've been holding my breath on the receiving end, thinking that made me more generous, more noble, more worthy somehow. So what's the new thought I'm programming in? True generosity includes being generous with myself. Setting prices that reflect my value isn't greed. It's participating properly in the dance of reciprocity. Here's what I realized. The transformation doesn't just come from the content I provide. It comes from the transaction itself. When someone isn't invested financially, they can inhabit this space of, I'll just catch the next round. I'll do it next time. I've got lifetime access to this, so I can just go back and revisit this when I need it, because it wasn't that big of a deal. I see this happening in Stand. The people who got it at the $297 price point, some of them are absolutely crushing it. They're showing up daily, doing the work, having massive breakthroughs. But others, they're kind of halfway in. They'll check in when they feel like it. They'll do the work when it's convenient. They'll miss a week and think, that's it, I've ruined it, I can't do anymore, I'll just come back for the next round. And I get it. When you're paying $7 a day for something, it feels optional. It's less than your morning latte. You can skip it without feeling the loss. But when you're paying what something is actually worth, when there's real skin in the game, you're going to show up differently. You're going to want to extract every ounce of value. You do the work even when you don't feel like it because you're invested in the transformation. I want the people I work with to get my very best. And I know I will show up differently when the exchange feels balanced. When someone pays me $297 for 6 weeks of daily personal attention, I'm going to be depleted before I even begin, even though I'm not realizing it. But when someone invests at a level that honors the transformation that is available to them, I show up like a fucking warrior for them. I go above and beyond because the energy is clean. The exchange feels fair. But man, is there resistance to claiming this. Even saying that I should be paid fairly for the transformation I provide, it feels harsh coming out of my mouth. There is still work to do there. You want to know how deep this programming goes? After I had this whole realization earlier, I immediately started thinking to myself, well, maybe I should keep Memo at $22, but just add more value. Maybe I could create a scholarship program for Stand. Maybe the problem is that I'm just not marketing it enough. It's not that I'm undercharging. Do you hear that? I mean, even after recognizing the pattern, my brain immediately went to, how can I give even more? Part of me thinks if I have offers that anyone can access, that's noble. It's like I'm some kind of transformational Robin Hood, making personal development available to the masses. That's part of the reason I started this podcast, because it's completely free. And that feels good to me. That feels aligned. But I can't keep loading up my paid programs with more and more value while I'm charging less and less, and then expecting people to somehow be able to get more and more out of them. And that's the truth I have to face. People don't need more information. They need to value what they already have access to. We've got over 170 memo episodes, each one carefully crafted, each one containing transformative concepts. But at $22 a month, how much are people really valuing it? How many episodes are sitting unlistened to because they know there'll always be more? How many breakthroughs are being missed because it's too easy to say, I'll get to that later? It's like having a library card to the Library of Congress, but you never go because you know it'll always be there. The accessibility actually becomes a barrier to your engagement. So maybe it's not about creating more. Maybe it's about honoring what's already been created. Here's another layer of resistance I'm noticing. I'm afraid that if I charge what my work is worth, I'll be excluding people who need it. But, that's me assuming that price is the only barrier to transformation. It's not. The biggest barrier is commitment. And sometimes a higher price point creates the commitment that makes the transformation possible. So what am I actually doing about all this? This week, I'm going to spend some time actually thinking about how I can restructure everything, not just looking at pricing from a revenue standpoint, but from an energetic exchange standpoint. Because that's what this experiment is about. If we're trying to build something energetically, If this whole bet is about energy over effort, then the energy has to be balanced. Let me tell you what this actually looks like in practice, because it's messy. It's not just changing numbers on a sales page. I'm going to have to sit with each of my offerings and really feel into them. Stand, what is the actual transformation available there? What energy am I pouring into it? What do people get when they fully engage? And then the hard question, what would I need to receive in exchange to feel excited about showing up fully? The answer is not $297. But here's what is interesting. Stand has taught me something important. I love having a pod of people to pour myself into. I love the daily connection, the witnessing of transformation, the group dynamics. But I can't pour myself into a big group of everyone at the current price point. So I think I'm going to create different containers for different levels of investment. There will still be an accessible version of Stand, the framework, the daily audios, the group experience. But my personal daily energy is going to be reserved for a much smaller, more intimate container where the exchange actually reflects the transformation that's available. Actually, wait, I need to add something here. I recorded most of this episode last night, and then this morning I woke up with another layer of understanding about this whole thing. When I look at Stand, my group is usually right around 15 people, give or take a couple. But typically only 6 people end up really showing up every single day and taking full advantage of everything. And I used to think that was a problem. Like, why aren't more people engaging? But what if it's not a problem? What if, energetically speaking, I'm only available to truly support 5 or 6 people at that price point? What if the universe is actually creating balance for me by having the engagement naturally whittle down to what feels energetically sustainable for me? I'm not even sure that's a thing, but this experiment is all about dealing in energy here, so maybe it is worth looking at. And here's what I do know for sure. This pattern isn't unique to my programs. I've been in plenty of group programs where not everyone shows up. And I have paid a lot of money for things I haven't fully participated in. So charging more money doesn't automatically solve the engagement problem. So maybe the answer isn't to charge more in hopes of thinking that that's going to have everyone show up. Maybe it is to be really honest with myself about how many people I can actually hold energetically, and then price accordingly. If I can truly support 6 people with my full presence, then maybe I create a container for 6 people at the right exchange, instead of a container for 15 where only 6 get what they need. I don't know. I'm still sitting with this, but it feels like another piece of the reciprocity puzzle. Anyway, let me tell you about Memo. Memo is also at a turning point. After all the episodes I've recorded, I'm sitting with a big question. Is it complete? I keep thinking I need to create more episodes, cover more topics, fill more gaps. But maybe that's my pattern all over again. Give more, more. Maybe 170 episodes is enough. Maybe it's time to package this body of work as complete and let people actually dig into what already exists. Because here's what I know. I'm sure there's a lot of people who haven't even listened to half the episodes. They're subscribed, they're paying their money, but they're not actually engaging with the material because it's too easy to let it pile up like unread articles in your inbox. What if Memo became a complete work, a capsule, something you invest in one time and then actually use because you know there's no more coming? What if the scarcity of knowing that's all there is actually created more engagement than this overabundance of new episodes every single week? So the restructuring isn't just about raising prices. It's about creating containers that honor both the transformation available and the energy that is required to facilitate it. This podcast is obviously staying free because that's my gift to whoever out there ends up finding it. It's my way of giving back, of making sure there's always something available for anyone who's ready to hear it. But my paid work needs to reflect the actual value of the transformation it provides. Not just for me, but for the people engaging with it. Because when you invest significantly in something, you show up differently. You extract more value. You do the work even when you don't want to. I'm not here to hold everybody in the world with a $22 offer. I'm here to hold space for the people who are ready to really examine themselves and take a fucking leap. That's my brilliance. That's what I'm exceptional at. And that deserves to be valued accordingly. So here's what I'm claiming in week 3 of the bet. My work creates expansion in everyone who engages with it fully. That expansion is valuable. That value deserves fair exchange. I'm not asking people for money. I'm maintaining energetic balance. I'm honoring the principle of sacred reciprocity. Look, plenty of million-dollar businesses have low-ticket offers, but they don't keep pouring their life force into something with such low return. They create it once and let it scale. It's a commodity. Or they price it appropriately for the ongoing energy investment. I've been pouring my daily energy into things that do not sustain me, energetically or financially. That's not a business model, it's a depletion model. This week taught me something crucial about this bet. I said I was building a $1 million business on pure energy, but I have been leaking that energy through undercharging, over-delivering, and believing that somehow the universe would balance it all out for me without me having to do anything. The universe doesn't work that way. The universe responds to clear signals. And charging $22 for transformation work while depleting myself is sending a very clear signal. I don't believe this is worth much. That signal's changing, starting now. So if you're listening to this, and if you've been in my world, you've probably been getting incredible value for almost nothing. I'm not going to apologize for that. It's been part of my journey to get here, but things are shifting. Not because I care less about accessibility. This podcast is proof that I want my work to reach people. I'm making this shift because I think I am finally beginning to understand that true service requires sustainable exchange. When the energy is balanced, everyone wins. You get my best. I get to keep showing up fully. The work gets to continue and expand. That's sacred reciprocity. That's the upgrade. So next week, I'll tell you about any decisions I've made. I'm going to sit with this and think through it from an energetic standpoint, not just a strategic one. And until then, remember, true generosity includes being generous with yourself. Go bet on yourself.